guys, it's Lynn with Littlefoot Nursery. I just wanted to hop on and do a video on a topic that was inspired by a comment I received on one of my videos. And I think this may be a somewhat controversial topic, so I would love everyone's opinions on it. But basically, I forget which video the comment was on, but and while this is, by the way, this is Reborn Baby Kai. He is the Phoenix, sculpt by Andrea Arcello, and his artist is Melissa George. Isn't he adorable? He's one of the very few boys I have in my collection. So I'm going to change him actually into this really cute, it's actually kind of a summery romper by Gymboree, but I don't know. I'm so in like a vacation mindset right now. I'm excited about, I don't know, just some of our upcoming trips and things like that. So because we are going to go to a beach house in just a few weeks. So I'm just so excited to kind of like, I don't know, just do something fun and get out of the house and all of that. So, but yeah, so basically the comment that she made was around, whether, okay, so when you sell a doll, whether you should be required to disclose the price that you paid for that doll. Because she said, I think in her, like, she didn't, I don't know that she used this word, but she basically said I think she felt like it's unethical for a seller to make a profit off of a doll that they have in their collection and to resell at a higher price than what they paid. So, so her whole thing was that she felt like everybody should disclose exactly what they paid, and that way, and that no seller should, seller of a baby should, like, no collector should profit off of a doll that they have in their collection. So, and I mean, I see her point, because I think that, obviously the artist is the one who put in so much work, right, into creating that doll. It does feel like they should really get the value, of what's paid for that baby versus it being sold secondhand at a higher price. But at the same time, I actually overall disagree with her comment, because I think at the end of the day, this is a free market, and different dolls have different values, whether it's brand new from the artist or secondhand. And, one example that comes to mind is Jenny Lee's Luna. So when I went to the Rose, oh my gosh, this is so adorable on him. So cute. You're such a handsome boy. Look at you. I'll pick you up real quick, give you a hug. Aw. So, yes, so Luna was one of Jenny's full body silicone. She's a preemie size, and she was being sold, I think, at the Rose Doll Show. And this was back in like 2017. It was actually the very first Rose Doll Show that I attended. And I remember thinking she was so cute, but I didn't buy her because of just the size and just worried about not being able to find clothing that fit and things like that. And granted, these were Lunas that were bald. I don't think they had any hair, but they were fully painted and everything. And Jenny did a beautiful job. And I want to say that the price of Luna at the show was maybe like $2,000, $2,500, something like that. Okay. And then, but literally shortly thereafter, I mean, just months later, and Luna sold out. So then shortly thereafter, and Luna's popularity just like really skyrocketed. So her price actually on the secondary market ended up doubling. She ended up being sold, or almost doubling. It ended up being like 4,000. Sometimes I would see Luna's being sold for 5,000, and might have even been higher than that at times, because I think the price of silicones in general was going up. So, so a lot of collectors ended up actually making a profit if they were reselling a Luna that they had in their collection. Now, I think you could make that argument that, wait, Jenny should get those profits, right, over the original value. And I would agree. Yeah, in a perfect world, yes, I do think Jenny should have been the one to benefit from Luna's value going up a lot. But but the reality of the world we live in is it is a free market, and it was, Luna became rare, right, because she was sold out, and people who didn't have her wanted her, and they were willing to pay a higher price. I think it was also her original price. She was priced very competitively, and she was probably priced a little bit below market compared to some other silicones. And then Jenny's own popularity as an artist went up by a lot. So her dolls started to command those higher prices. But that wasn't the case when she originally had put Luna up for sale. And she was selling at, I guess, just a more modest price at that point. So with her subsequent dolls, she definitely has been selling at a much higher dollar value than she did with those Lunas. But so yeah, I mean, I guess you could, make the argument like, oh, those mommies of the original Lunas should have been like, okay, I paid 2,000 and therefore I will sell her for 2,000. I'd like to just get back what I paid, or I would like to, get like, or a lot of collectors who disclose the price of what they paid, they're usually selling for less than that price in order to kind of show that this is a really good deal. But is a buyer required to share the price that they paid? I don't think so. And are they required to sell at or below that price? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Some of you guys may disagree with that, but I feel like if one collector is able to get, 4,000, 5,000 for that Luna, another collector should feel that they can also ask for the same thing, because that is now the fair market value of that doll, and it has appreciated in price. Just think about it. Like if you had bought a stock, like a piece of a company, and your stock went up, like it's kind of like requiring that, you sell the stock at the price that you paid for it, and again, not that I think most of us don't necessarily buy these dolls for investment appreciation, but but it is a lot of money to put into these dolls. And so if the value of the doll goes up, then I say great for the collector, like good on them. That's awesome. And great for the artist too, because the artist can probably command a higher price for their dolls in the future. So I think that, that all, like, I think goes hand in hand. So the artist does ultimately benefit, I feel like, in those situations. And a lot of times the higher price over what the person paid is a reflection of that artist's increase in popularity. So, Claire Taylor is another good example. I think she used to sell her dolls through her website for a fixed price. And then now, because she is so popular, I think she sells them via auction or private auction or something, where it's all private bidding, and the prices probably do go to 15, 20,000 for some of her dolls. And people are willing to pay it because they feel like that is now the going rate. So it doesn't really matter that you used to be able to just, you know, do a custom order for one of her full body silicones for 8 or 9,000. That's not really the going rate anymore. So if somebody who owns one of her older dolls feels like they could get more for them, then good for them. But I feel like for a secondhand doll, there's kind of a limit to, like how much more you can ask for it versus a doll that's brand new. But again, it's all completely up to the buyer and what they're willing to pay. And there is still less supply of silicone babies than there is demand. So yeah, so that's my opinion. I think it's totally fine to sell for more than you paid for the doll. Like, especially, like, you have to figure out, like, what is the fair market value of that doll today? And ultimately, it comes down to, what does the buyer feel is a fair price for that doll too? And if both the seller and buyer agree, then that's great. So I'm trying to think of another example besides like stocks. Oh, another might be like designer jewelry, for example. So there are designer jewelry tends to, like, these designers, like, or even handbags, right? Like Louis Vuitton handbags, Cartier or Tiffany jewelry, that sort of thing. They tend to go up in price. Like every year, the companies tend to hike up and do price increases. So sometimes if you've had a piece that you bought like 10 years ago for a lesser price, the resale value and the fair market value of that piece may actually be quite a bit higher than what you paid for it. So I think it's like no different than in that situation where you might be able to actually make a profit. like off of something that you bought years ago, just because the value has gone up of that item in terms of the brand new price, which therefore impacts the secondary price, secondary market price. So I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with making a profit. And I think that there are people who like are upset about what the part that I do think is for sure wrong is if somebody I heard of a situation where there's a lady who kind of lied essentially about like people have some sad situations and um and sometimes they just can't afford a doll. And then some people in our community have been so kind to be able to gift free dolls to people. But there are a lot of scams out there, and this has definitely happened where somebody lied about, maybe having an illness or having a child with an illness or being financially in a really tough place or something like that, and that their only wish is to have a reborn doll. So then somebody gifts them that doll, and then you see that person turn around and just like try to sell that doll. And it was a gift. It was something that they got as a gift. I do feel like that does feel very slimy and wrong to me, so I think that's a completely different situation. But if you're just a collector who purchased the doll, intending to keep the doll for a while, and then when it's time to resell, you happen to resell for a bit higher than what you paid, I don't see anything wrong with that. Because I don't know, because it feels like in that latter case, it's not like you purchased the doll with some like malicious intent to flip it right away and just immediately make a profit. Like, I don't know, there is something about that I feel like I don't know, that just feels different than somebody who gets a doll for free and then sells it or tries to sell it. And what was so horrible about this one situation too is like I think the person who gifted the doll was like a 13-year-old girl who'd like seen this situation, and she wanted to like gift this doll. And I just think to take advantage of a child like that is like so wrong. Like that just makes me sick to my stomach to hear that. So anyway, all right, I babbled on long enough on this topic. What do you all think? Please drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm so curious to hear what you guys have to say on this topic. And, yeah, like let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, this is Kai and Little Fit Nursery, and we're going to say goodbye to you guys. See you on the next video. Take care.